I'm just going to wait for the numbers to go up. It's the 20th of May 2026. I'm Gary Waterman, a former UK police constable. I now have, I'm just going to repeat some of the things I've said on my live on TikTok. I now have very credible evidence that they are trying to use drones to locate me. They've already removed my VPN access, so I have no location protection in relation to this. Very credible evidence they're using drones now to locate me. And this is now being timed with a criminal civil court case linking into my wife and her family, and who are massively implicated in satanic cults now being confirmed, and an infiltration of Christianity and a doomsday cult tying in with Exborn Manor and tying in with Satanism, and how that links in with the Collider technology and with Deborah Fleming and the Fleming family, which are massively connected to all of this. Okay, and it seems links into the 13 bloodlines of the Illuminati. And there's lots of evidence that I've been talking about in relation to that. So I don't know how much longer I'm going to be around if they are using drones to now try and locate me. The court case was, as I've said, was due today, and they tried convincing me to go with a threat of setting up the theft of money from my account and the theft of a property, to think that that would then make me go to the court case where they would be able to unalive me, okay, with the threat of potentially removing any other assets and money that may have, and that would prevent me being able to survive. But of course, I didn't go to the court case. It's a civil court case, and it was very much a case of obvious that it would give them the ability to unalive me if I would go there. And thank goodness I didn't. And I'm going to show you some of the evidence in relation to the end of creation. And it's only going to be a snippet of the evidence. It's overwhelming. I urge you all to email me to get the document on the following email. Go and get a pen and I'll give it to you in a moment. If you go and get a pen, I'll give you my email and I will try and get this document out to as many people as I can. And whilst you're getting your pen, I'm just going to read this first bit. So the colliders, if you're not aware of them, the research says that there are 2 active colliders in the world, one at Geneva in Switzerland, the other one in New York in America. The one in America is called the Relativistic Heavy Ion Collider, supposedly, or RHIC. The other one is called the Large Hadron Collider, or LHC, in Geneva in Switzerland. Now, somebody has told me that there's over 70 colliders around the world. Now, I know that there were previous colliders that we're being told are no longer active. That could be a lie, and this information being given to me could be true, that there are more colliders that are active around the world and they're just not disclosing that to everybody. That could be the case. But they are telling us that there are 2 active colliders. And if you go and look at CERN, if you type in CMS, Charlie Mike Sierra, CERN, you will see an article that talks about the facility at the Large Hadron Collider having the ability to create a magnetic field 100,000 times as powerful as the entire magnetic field of the Earth. Now, the question you should all be asking yourselves is, why would they even have that technology? Well, whilst I remember, my email address is Gary with 1 R, the truth sets us free @gmail.com. That's Gary, the truth sets us free @gmail.com. I'll say it one more time. Gary with 1 R, the truth, TRUTH, sets us free @gmail.com. Now, all emails are compromised, okay? They've set this all up. Everything's compromised, but, you know, I can hopefully try and get this document out to as many people as you can. And we're looking at part of that document now. And so you had the 2 colliders. The first one, I'm just going to read you some of what we got here, because time is of the essence in this. So this is in relation to the Large Hadron Collider, which CERN created. And on the 10th of September 2008, the Large Hadron Collider at CERN was successfully steered its first proton beams around a 27-kilometer ring, marking the start of the operations. The primary goal was to begin commissioning the machine for high-energy particle protons for the study the fundamental laws of physics, including searching for Higgs boson and dark matter. First beam, you just see it's here in where you've got the the first beam is on the 10th of September. Okay, but underneath, okay, it says incident 19th of September 2008. So 9 days later, a faulty electrical connection caused a magnetic quench. I don't know the scientific terms of this. This is what it says: magnetic quench and helium leak, damaging a sector of the accelerator and requiring extensive repairs. Now, I had a dream in 2024, and that dream led to the control panel of the collider and information that a technical fault is called hell, okay, by their technical team when the problem goes wrong with it. Now, I only had that dream in 2024. I was not aware of this fault having occurred at that time. Okay, what else do I need to say on that bit? That dream led to all sorts. Okay, now, as I've said, it can only be either they're controlling space, time, matter, my thoughts and everything around me with how that dream led to other evidence, or you're talking a divine intervention through me to try and prevent all of this occurring, okay, by the true creator. So we had this incident on the 19th of September. A summary of the website starts to describe the fault, but one article has been removed from the CERN website and the other appears to have removed mentioning the fault at all, suggesting they are trying to hide important evidence in relation to this fault, okay? Along with other evidence regarding the September 2008, which we're going to come to in a minute, linking RAA, which is the god of linking in with Egyptology, Nimrod, creationism, the royals, the Iona, end of the world prophecy. It shows significantly what appears to be someone trying to end creation, and I have to assume that if this criminal system is not resolved, they may well succeed. Not necessarily immediately, but very soon if we do not do this. So I've screenshotted this to show you. Okay, here you can see, now there's a bit of a spelling mistake in my search, but you can see what was the experiment at CERN I put. And you can see here it says, this is the first thing that comes up. First beam, September 10th, 2008. And then it says incident, September the 19th, 2008, 9 days later, okay? Here is going into the article connected to that, and you can see it mentions it. This is the CERN website, okay? This is, you can see, I don't know if you can see it very well here, but at the top you can see I'm online here, and here it says the large LHC circulated its first protons on the 10th of September 2008. 9 days later, a faulty electrical connection occurred. So it starts to talk about it in the summary. When you go into that article, they've removed the entire article. So you can see here, CERN website, well, you can just about see it, and so the CERN symbol has 666 twisted round into it, okay, linking in with Satanism, an infiltration of Christianity, but also it looks like an infiltration potentially of Satanism by the Egyptology Pharaohan bloodlines in this, potentially. So here you can see the page was not found. And here's Tim Berners-Lee, who created the World Wide Web for CERN, and he lived, possibly still does, I think he's still alive, can't remember actually, yeah, I think he's still alive, lives in Wimborne in Dorset, which is where the Flemings live, that initiated my removal from Exbourne Manor for refusing to file the forged bank documents. My wife's friend, Leanne Witcher, or Witcher, it's all in the name, isn't it? Witch. There's a lot of, because there is black magic, believe it or not, tied in with this. Now, I don't believe that black magic is necessarily real magic they have. I believe it's the technology they have behind what they're claiming to be magic, okay? That's what I suspect. And they're into all sorts of stuff. When you look at Aleister Crowley, go and look at him. He links into all of this, okay? And he was involved in black magic, sex magic as well, blood ritual, and he's very, very much tying into all of this, linking in with Exbourne Manor, okay? So what else was I going to say on that bit? So Tim Berners-Lee lived in Wimborne, and he also connects directly via the companies that he worked with previously to Exmoor Manor, where my investigation began. Now, Tim Berners-Lee married somebody within the World Health Organization, which is completely part of their agenda. And the World Health Organization is their main offices, I believe, are or were in Geneva in Switzerland, where CERN is also based, and the Large Hadron Collider is based. Tim Berners-Lee created the World Wide Web for CERN. Okay, he worked at CERN in the 1980s up until, I think it was from June till December. He worked at CERN, and he created the World Wide Web for CERN in 1989. Okay, in 1991, as I've said to you earlier, was when David Icke came out and said the world would be devastated by earthquakes and tsunamis. And then 13 years later, which is a symbolic reference number, okay, the earthquake of 2004 happened on the 50th anniversary of CERN, when CERN was originally founded. Here you can see me going into the other article. Okay, so there was 2 articles here, and the other article that came up when I researched it, it doesn't mention here on the second article the fault. Okay, but I thought I'd go in and just check just in case, and there is no trace of that fault within their website. So what they have done is they have removed the fault from their sites, which obviously means they're trying to hide it for some reason. Now, a search reveals that on the exact same day as the fault, the following information was released. Professor Stephen Hawking unveiled the Corpus Clock, a terrifying new way to read the time at Corpus Christi College, Cambridge, England, the BBC News says. The Corpus Clock, also known as the chronograph or the grasshopper clock, is a large sculptural clock on the outside of the Taylor Library at Corpus Christi College, University of Cambridge. Now, University College of Cambridge is where Stephen Hawking has been studying the expansion of the universe, okay, which links to 1966, which is the year of the foundation of the Church of Satan, okay, and that was named, or the Church of Satan was founded after a night linking to Christianity and tying into Germany. Okay, 1966 that was. And he studied the theory of the expansion of the universe. So in other words, creation, expansion of universe. And then when you look at the ritual that occurred in 2016, after the Pizzagate scandal had been exposed, exposing the crimes against the children, linking into our system they have in place via the American government, they did a ritual at CERN by the Shiva statue, and that represents not only creation, but destruction. Okay, so representing the expansion of the universe and representing the destruction of the universe, all time, space, and matter as we know it. Then the only way you could do that is by creating a point of singularity or a black hole on Earth. And 2012 was the end of the Mayan calendar, and Stephen Hawking was trying to get CERN, the Large Hadron Collider, to create a black hole on Earth. There's even an article stating that. And on the 4th of July 2012, is when CERN claims, that's when it came out with the claim that it had discovered the Higgs boson or God particle. Not when they actually discovered it that day. That's when they came out and publicized that they had done it. Well, when you look at April 2012 is when Stephen Hawking held a meeting with Stephen Hawking held a meeting. Can't get my words out. With you can imagine my brain's racing. With Stephen Hawking held a meeting with Jeffrey Epstein and with CERN scientists, and that was on the 19th of April 2012. And 8 days earlier, I think it was, there was a huge earthquake. So it looks as though that earthquake, from all of my evidence, was them trying to create a point of singularity on Earth to end creation, or at least trial it, to try and time that with the end of the Mayan calendar, which was speculated to be the end of the world, okay, through a black hole, okay, or being struck by planet Nibiru, or X. X relates to the bloodline of Christ. Where was I going to go with that? So this meeting was held days after that earthquake. So it looks as though they tried to trigger their end of creation event in 2012, came up with some sort of story, said they created the Higgs boson or God particle, December that year, they created the Association of Police and Crime Commissioners, which enabled them through the criminal system and the police that are set up deliberately as part of the doomsday clock to oversee the police via corporate body heads, okay, coming in from corporate organizations, overseeing the police to ensure that they controlled the funneling of the money through the legal system in relation to crime, and the police organizations linking in with that via investigations to funnel more money through into the Collider technology to try and fulfill their ultimate agenda and goal in all of this. And this explains why the Association of Police and Crime Commissioners is linked to Jimmy Savile almost immediately from the research. Not only is it linked to Jimmy Savile, it's linked to the Collider technology. It's linked to CERN. It's linked to members of the royal family. It's linked to Donald Trump. It's linked to the case of Madeleine McCann. It's linked to earthquake companies in all of this. Okay, P. Diddy. Okay, the investigation of P. Diddy. All of the investigations you're seeing are being used as a cover-up. Okay, to try and make you believe something's happening. First of all, a distraction, because it gives them time. All the time they make you believe they're investigating Jeffrey Epstein, for example, it gives the people at the head of this that most people won't actually know about, even those involved in a lot of the investigations, right? Because they'll be telling them that these investigations are taking place because of the abuse of the children, linking in with Jeffrey Epstein, when actually they're being used to hide the bigger evidence of everything that I'm telling you about in all of this. So the clock was officially unveiled on the 19th of September 2008, the same day as the fault occurred at the Large Hadron Collider, and it was unveiled by Stephen Hawking. Research shows that John Crawshaw Taylor, OBE, born 1936, is an English inventor, entrepreneur, and horologist and philanthropist, best known for his extensive research into electric kettles, interestingly. Now, he was the one that created the clock. Now, I'm just going to show you the Wikipedia, just so you know I'm not just writing this down myself, and you can obviously slow this down, pause it, or go and check it yourself. Here's the corpus clock. You can see 19th of September. Okay, the same date as the fault at CERN. And it's quite interesting, some of the information here, and it speaks about eating time. It's quite sinister, actually. It's got a picture, I don't know if you can see it on here, a grasshopper, and the clock is designed to eat time. So the grasshopper is eating time away. In other words, time is running out, and they're telling us that timing is running out. And this is, I believe, why you have TikTok is linked to Donald Trump. TikTok is linked to his son, and Trump Jr., who is Baron Trump, isn't it? And I believe it's a symbolism of time being ebbed away in relation to their plan and humanity doing nothing about it. And this is why, you know, you've got the doomsday clock, which is also connected to all of them, a clock again counting down. You also have the Georgia Guidestones, which representing an upcoming man-made apocalyptic event as well. And that was timed, a very interesting time in all of this as well, 1980 when that was built, which is the same year that where it was actually designed and then erected in Georgia in America in 1980, which is when Tim Berners-Lee was working at CERN. See, this all ties in, you see. So anyway, let's get back to the Companies House evidence, because we need to look at the evidence that I spoke about at the beginning of this as well. A Companies House search shows that the creator of Corpus Clock, Taylor, had been appointed to Strix UK Limited before 1992 and resigned in 1999, the same year as the re-establishment of the Church of Satan, after its original founder was died supposedly within 2 months of Princess Diana in 1997. This is the company had been incorporated in 1990. Its incorporation document shows Kent Secretaries Limited of Longfield, Kent, and page 4 shows various companies, including Lawson Price Limited, Keith Price Limited, and HC Holdings Southampton Limited, which we're going to come to in a minute. Now, these Price names possibly relate to Stephen Price and his wife Rita Price, who have been positioned as tenants within the joint property with my wife and I. All right, I've already found the evidence linking them into the blood of the children via Homefield Grange, which is a care home near to the property, and into the international government fraud, and that's where my wife had also been working. So I'll just go into the Companies House records so you can see it. So here's John Crawshaw Taylor. He's the designer of the clock. If you go and look at that, you'll be able to see in the Wikipedia, Strix UK Limited, incorporated in 1990. And on the this address is used throughout the fraud, Cannon Street. If we go on to, I think it was the incorporation document, wasn't it? On the incorporation document, we have an address in Longfield. Okay, this is used throughout the fraud. 9 Lincoln's Infields, that's used throughout the fraud. Here we go, Kent Secretaries, okay, in New Barn, Longfield. Kent is obviously where I was born. Massively, massively relevant in all of this. They have been following me all my life, okay? My whole world, my whole life has been a stage. Even my father, okay, my father's family that he became involved in, my wife's family, my brother-in-law's family, who my sister ended up marrying, my obviously my mum's employer links directly into this, okay, directly into Jimmy Savile. Anyway, let's look at the incorporation document, because this becomes important. Obviously, this jumped out because it's Southampton, which is in Hampshire, which is where Deborah Fleming had been an NHS chief executive and retired in 2022 in March to become involved in my inquiries in Expoor Manor Freehold Limited. Dominic Michael Anthony Orton connects this company to 9 companies, including mountaineering companies, Cambridge Mechatronics Limited, the Flag Association Limited, and critically Siemens Metering Limited, that connects to many other Siemens companies via its directors, including Siemens and Plessey's, which links to the research of Tim Berners-Lee, the founder of the World Wide Web for CERN, Dorset, and to Madeleine McCann. So I'll just show you that quickly. Michael Orton. Dominic Michael Orton. Mountaineering. Now, interestingly, it's probably going to be related. What's his name? Aleister Crowley was a massive mountaineerer and involved in climbing and stuff, so possibly going to be relative. Flag Association. And here we have Siemens Metering Limited. Okay, so we have a link into Siemens. It dissolved after I moved back into Expoor Manor in 2021. Although my investigations began in 2022, it was incorporated in 1978. Just looking at the other names it had. And then when you go into Siemens, let's have a little look at this. Those are the Siemens companies. Now Siemens, when you research it, it's linked to the Nazi regime, okay, which ties into the Albert Pike letter written to Mazzini of 1871 to bring about the light of Lucifer, okay, through the 3 World War deceptions against humanity, to lead now, it seems overwhelmingly, into the end of all of creation through that agenda. Now here you can see a Plessey company. If you research Tim Berners-Lee, you'll see he was actually linked to Plessey. Now I've connected Plessey to, and look when it resigned. Okay, so it was incorporated in 1925 and it dissolved in March 2024 as I was exposed in the fraud. And Tim Berners-Lee worked for Plessey's, and Plessey's connects to the knee name, which is Keeler, I believe, or Keeley, which is very likely going to be linked into Keeler, which ties in back into the Profuma affair now I'm thinking about it. But if you look at Madeleine McCann's mother, Kate McCann, her knee name is Keeler, or Keeley, sorry. And Keeley links to this company via the research, which links to the World Wide Web and Tim Berners-Lee. And then if you go into, I think it's going to be here, the main Siemens company. Siemens, there it is, Siemens PLC. Now, if you look at this company, this is their main company, it seems, that they're now going with. Although they were originally founded in 1847, 3 years after Companies House began, and they were linked into the Nazi regime, okay, this is the company that they seem to be using as their main company. It was incorporated in 1962, which is the same year as the time, it seems, of the infiltration of the royal family. Now here you can see they changed the name for the first time on the 1st of May 2025, but they have changed that. It was the 5th of May, and the reason they have changed that is because on the 5th of May that year, Donald Trump came out and said that the Alcatraz, stay with me here, that Alcatraz will be reopened to the public on the 5th of May 2025. This created a load of articles in relation to Alcatraz, okay? Now, this company was created 2 weeks to the day after, I think it's either after or before, 3 prisoners escaped from Alcatraz. And there's overwhelming evidence that those 3 prisoners, they used as the deception for the Apollo moon landing in 1969. There's absolutely overwhelming evidence. So I'm pretty sure they changed the date because they realized it would make too much of a link to Donald Trump and the deception surrounding Alcatraz and the moon landing, which ties into Apollo. And Apollo links to the number 13. Again, Apollo 13, the movie that came out in 1995, the same year that the Hackler International Advisory Board company was created, that links to the Russian government, to the intelligence agencies, and is shown on page 40 of the Royal Foundation of the Prince and Princess of Wales, that links to the end of creation technology and the events that I'm talking about now. What else was I going to say on this point? So I've mentioned that. Yeah. Okay, let's go back to the document. Waterman also connects to BAE Systems, the largest defence contractor for the United Kingdom, which is a deception around the conflicts. So what they do is they'll funnel stealing money from you, funneling it through the conflicts. They're all involved in both sides, including Russia, including Ukraine, working with Russia. It's a collaborative deception against all of humanity to exploit you, steal money from you, and funneling into everything I'm telling you about. Orton also connects to BAE Systems, Thales, German-British Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and Waterman Limited, making connections to the criminal network, cell towers, and the blood of tortured children again. Siemens is significant, as I've said. Now, it also links to Jeffrey Epstein. So I forgot to tell you that. So that main Siemens company, when you're going through one of its directors, it links to Edge Foundation. That was funded by Jeffrey Epstein. So that means this whole thing I'm talking about here is tied into Jeffrey Epstein as well. My dream had led me to the Ninth Circle movie that had been released on the 15th of March 2008, 7 months prior to the Large Hadron Collider activation and to the control panel of the Large Hadron Collider and a technical problem apparently being called the Ninth Circle or Hell by its technician. A separate search, remember we had HC Holdings Southampton on the incorporation document of that company that we were looking at in relation to the designer of the Corpus clock, Taylor, and it shows that it had been incorporated as DA Holdings Southampton Limited on the 28th of July 2010, which is 4 months before CERN Limited was incorporated. Its name was changed for the only time in May 2011 between the Christchurch earthquake and Jimmy Savile's death. So let's have a look at CHC Holdings. Remember, this is on the incorporation document for the connection to the Corpus clock. Okay, so here's that company. David Anthony Hobbs connects it to 11 companies, including History Bombs Limited and PC Holdings House Southampton Limited, that have been incorporated on the 15th of March 2002. It has a registered address of CW Fellows Limited, Templars House, Lulworth Close, Chandler's Ford, Hampshire. This is critical because this is the exact same address linked to HJ Holt Limited in the research of Julian Assange, the Christchurch earthquake, and the Doomsday, cult, as shown elsewhere. Its filing history shows that on the 18th of March 2008, its address was changed from Maritime Walk, Ocean Village, Southampton, making links throughout the document and to the Vatican via the research of Mark Steele. This was 3 days after the Ninth Circle movie was released that led to my dream regarding the control panel of the Large Hadron Collider. So let's just have a look at some of that. So we want to go into Hobbs, and he connects to PC Holdings. Now this possibly links to Steve Hobbs, who was a police officer that I went on holiday with whilst I was still working in Kent. Possibly all this is going to be a relative of his. In 2006, the same year that that I moved from Kent to Dorset, I went on holiday to Florida with a group of friends, including Paul Heritage and Steve. I'm sure, yeah, his name was Hobbs. Steve Hobbs was, strangely, I thought, with us on that holiday. He was a police officer in Maidstone Police. Remember, they've been following me my entire life. I believe possibly he's going to be connected into this. I need to do a bit more research around that. But here we have the other companies: Bomb Studios Limited, History Bomb Studios Limited, Red Cotton. Aha, ooh, interesting. Looks as though they may have removed it. Let me just check this before I come out of it. Let's make sure they haven't changed one of the names. No, that's the one we're in. It's not that one. Look, it's just that one. No, because obviously they'll be watching me doing my research, you see. So I'm trying to keep one step ahead of the game, but it's so they have the ability to change things. So let's just go back into David. Oh, have I gone into the wrong name? David Anthony Hobbs. Is it David Anthony Hobbs I went into? No, sorry, gone into the wrong one. My mistake. History Bombs. PC Holdings, Southampton. Now I suspect this PC could stand for Police Constable. Okay, the police organisations, the head of the organisations, are part of the Doomsday Cult. They've been centralised to the Doomsday Cult. So here you can see the address, Templar's House. Now remember, the Knights Templar are involved in all of this, linking in with the 13th bloodline of the Illuminati. I am connected to the Knights Templar via a Waterman company that also connects to my former school, okay, of the Thomas Aveling School, Arethusa Road in Rochester. So here you have Templar's House. Notice it was incorporated not long after the World Trade Center disaster, and it dissolved after CERN claims to have discovered the Higgs boson or God particle, and the same year as the earthquake that I've told you about. So we've got this Templar's House. Let's just have a quick look. And its filing history. Let's go into its filing history. Arcadia House, 2008. Okay, there it is, yeah. So we have a registered address change, 18th of March 2008, within days of the Ninth Circle movie being released, which links to my dreams, remember, that leads to a fault with the control panel of the Large Hadron Collider. And you can see it has an address here of Southampton, Ocean Village, Southampton. That connects to my other research tying into the Vatican via, what's his name, Mark Steele, who is somebody claiming that the cell towers are a directed, interesting, claiming they're a directed energy weapon, but mainly he's claiming that the cameras within the cities are weapon systems. All right, he's linked in to the research surrounding Sacha Stone, and Sacha Stone connects to information of the black nobility families into the blood of the tortured children and into the Church of Satan. So this creates a connection to Mark Steele and the Church of Satan via that as well. And there's some other evidence as well coming in relation to Mark Steele. This was 3 days after the Ninth Circle was released. Hobbs also connects to the International Printers Network. Limited that had been incorporated in 2003 and had been a criminal company, having been incorporated with the same companies as Exbourne Manor Freehold Limited, where my investigation began. Printers and photocopiers are relevant to various people in my life in Kent. My mum, her boyfriend, Chris Hillman. Okay, my mum is Maureen Waterman, 100% compromised by this. Don't believe it's my mum. Her partner, Chris Hillman, massively compromised with this. Okay, you also had, all working at the same location, my sister, but I believe she's innocent in this at the moment, and my friend's girlfriend, Jo Hatt, okay, was all working, and my friend's godparents own the business, and the business links into CERN and the Large Hadron Collider, and it was a photocopying business. Okay, and Tim Berners-Lee was involved in photocopiers, and this photocopying business that my family were involved in created the world's first particular part of that photocopy of the photocopier. So it will be connected into Tim Berners-Lee, okay, into the World Wide Web and into the Large Hadron Collider and everything I'm talking about. Hobbs also connects to Wessex Cardiac Arrest Trust that featured elsewhere and links to the Satanic Temple, United Kingdom. CW Fellows Limited is shown as the former registered address in that company, as we saw. It had been incorporated on the 1st of February 2008, before its name was changed on the 5th of April 2008, either side of the Ninth Circle movie. So we'll just have a quick look at that so you can see it. CW Fellows, this was on the registered address, okay, for the registered address for the company we were looking at a minute ago, the HC Southampton company, whatever it was. Okay, and look at the dates either side of the release of the Ninth Circle movie, and you'll see that it has an address in Southampton, Hampshire, where Deborah Fleming had been a member of the NHS, or retired from the NHS to become involved in my investigations as Exbourne Manor Freehold Limited. And notice when it dissolved, okay, that is the same day, I don't think I realised this, the exact same day that Julian Assange was arrested. Julian Assange links to the Doomsday Cult. I don't think I actually noted that. I don't think I even noticed that previously. No, I didn't notice that. That is critical. That is absolutely critical. Okay, so that's the exact same date that Julian Assange was arrested. Julian Assange, supposedly arrested, it's fake. It's fake. He's part of the Doomsday Cult, linking in with Deborah Fleming and everything else that I'm exposing, linking in with the royal family. That's the exact same date, everybody. That's huge, actually. Right, so where else do I go with this? Do I show you that other evidence going in from HJ Holt? Let's have a quick look at that. I'm just mindful of the time that I may, well, at least it'll be caught on camera. If they arrest me, it'll be caught on camera, won't it? So HJ, what was it? HJ Holt. I can't remember if there was a dot after it or not. See if that came. Oh, there. Right, HJ. Yeah, HJ. Not a dot there though. I hope everyone is recording this. You need to be recording this live, and you need to get it out there, because if they get rid of this, then I can't help humanity at all, and they're probably going to succeed in all of this, according to all of the research. Okay. I'm a bit mindful of going too far back in this. I'm just going to read all of this out really quickly because it is very relevant. It's going to be a while, but like I said, if they arrest me, they arrest me. So this is research in relation to the ice cube neutrino detector in Antarctica. Supposedly this technology is real. I have to assume it is based on what I'm finding, and this appears to be why it's so important that they have the Antarctic Treaty in all of this. I believe the wall of Antarctic is a lie in terms of a flat Earth theory, and the wall of Antarctica, I don't believe that's real. I believe that is a symbolic of the protection of what they're doing at Antarctica in relation to all of this. So, in late 2025 and early 2026, people request that I research claims made by Eric Hecker, a former Raytheon employee, that a device called the Ice Cube, remember Cube in there, Cube of Saturn, linking him with Saturnalia and the Church of Satan, had caused the Christchurch earthquake of 2011. An article publicised in 2024, as the exposure of the fraud continued, states the following. In a handout picture taken on December the 18th, 2010, released by the US National Science Foundation on the 20th. It's interesting because it's got two dates here. In a handout picture taken on this date, released by them on the 23rd of December 2010, the final digital optical module is prepared to be deployed in the Ice Cube Array, the world's largest neutrino observatory, built under the Antarctic tundra near the US Amundsen Scott South Pole Station. The observatory, finished after a decade of toil on December the 18th, is located 1,400 meters underground and will help scientists study space particles in the search for dark matter, invisible material that makes up most of the universe. The Cube's network of 5,160 optical sensors. I believe this was a lie. I believe the plan was to use it for the event I'm talking about. An Antarctic research facility completed in 2010 has been used by US and international scientists to study subatomic particles from space, but claims on social media that it used directed energy weapons and caused a major 2011 earthquake are false. Researchers say the facility, known as the Ice Cube, has a network of optical sensors designed to detect neutrinos for basic science, and defense experts said it lacks the capacity to produce energy capable of penetrating the Earth, even though they've told us that they have the ability. Now, it could be that they're using other technology and not directed energy in the way that they're talking about to do this. Okay, so, but this could explain why you have the CMS, as I keep saying, if you type CMS CERN, you will see they have the ability to create magnetic fields 100,000 times more powerful than the entire Earth. You should all be asking yourselves, why have they got that technology? All right, the only reason would be why really all of this evidence I'm talking about. The Ice Cube neutrino detector is not simply a passive listening device. It's the world's largest directed energy weapon, according to the article. A man identified as Eric Hecker, claiming to be a contractor for Raytheon, says in a video shared on Facebook on February the 11th, 2024, interesting, that's just over two years after the Christchurch earthquake, is responsible for the earthquake in Christchurch, New Zealand in 2007. The man says the video, says in the video, which is from a podcast on the Sean Ryan Show and shared on YouTube in July 2023. Hecker made similar claims in a video shared on TikTok in August 2023. The claim was amplified by popular podcast Joe Rogan, who called it a wacky claim was amplified by popular podcast host Joe Rogan, who called it a wacky conspiracy theory and added, "I have no idea if any of this is nonsense." I'm just going to show you the article very, very quickly. I'm a bit mindful of time. I'm not going to accept the cookies. Did not produce. This is the article. You can see February 2024, February the 21st, actually. There's an actual little video of him talking about it, I believe, or they might have got rid of it now. But let's go back. Here is another article mentioning the claims and other whistleblowers' technology. It's talking about energy weapons. It does mention, interestingly, Pink Floyd as well is mentioned here. Start by exploring the dark side of the moon, not the Pink Floyd album. That's actually linked into it as well. Where is it? It's in here somewhere anyway. It speaks about all different conspiracies, but it's got about that technology. Research shows that there is no obvious Companies House record for Eric Hecker. The information shows his claims only came to attention from 2022, and that they become more prominent in 2023 and 2024. His claim, he claims to have worked at the Antarctic facility from 2010 to 2011 during the start of the project. This relates this raises questions about the validity of his claims, in that he does not appear to have made them public prior to me starting to expose the fraud. The question is, why not? Now, this ties into, is it possible that all of this entire evidence, including the World Trade Center's evidence and all of these earthquakes that they've created, potentially, if they're real, then have they done that for me to expose it because of who I may be? I have to consider that, but at the moment, it appears as though everything is at stake for everybody based on all of this evidence, and I don't know what else I can do other than produce the evidence and try to get you to assist me in exposing it and take part in the strategy. Raytheon, the company that he previously worked at, is unquestionably significantly linked to the fraud and becomes relevant in the research surrounding Jeffrey Epstein and the Lockerbie bombing of 1988. Research shows that the neutrino means a neutrino subatomic particle with a mass close to zero and half-integral spin, which rarely reacts with normal matter. Three kinds of neutrinos are known, associated: the electronic, muon, and tau particle. The company now searched for DOM, the acronym of Digital Optical Module mentioned in relation to this technology, reveals DOM UK Limited. It was incorporated as DomeTake Limited in 1988, the year before the World Wide Web was created for CERN, and its name was last changed in 2015. A selection of documents from 1995 in the filing history shows that it is a criminal company, having been incorporated with the same companies as Exborn Manor Freehold Limited. So this technology in Antarctic cannot now be ignored, especially what I find afterwards. So here is DOM. This is the acronym, okay, for, in that article, for the technology in Antarctica. Now you're going to be saying, well, if this is all true, what do we do about it? Well, it's possible that they need to see humanity are good and that is worth saving. At the moment, and we're going to come to this in a minute, it believes they may feel they have the right through their bloodline to bring the end of creation and therefore the judgment upon humanity. A false judgment. That is very credibly the case in this, which means if nobody else does anything and it's only me trying to do this, then they're probably going to succeed. They're probably going to succeed, everybody. Go to a selection of documents from 1995, which is the year that Hakluyt International Advisory Board was created, everybody. This is why this 1995 date is so important in where they put the documents, okay? Because it is when this intelligence agency, Russian government, linking into the craze, linking into the doomsday cult company was created. And it links to a collaboration with the international governments into the World Trade Center disaster, into everything that I am exposing. Here it is, selection of documents. Okay, exactly the same companies as Exborn Manor. Swift Incorporations Limited, that ties in with the Church of Satan, everybody. And there you can see Jordan and Sons Limited, the main company in the international government fraud. These are the same companies that started Exborn Manor Freehold Limited. If you go and look at it, you'll see. Jerome Dennis of this company links to DOM UK Limited. Okay, so not only do we have DOM UK dash, look, the one we just looked at, you also have DOM without the dash in it, the hyphen in it, Limited. It was incorporated in 2005 and it dissolved on the 28th of February 2011, 6 days after the Christchurch earthquake. 6 days, everybody. It has CMS Cameron McKenna LLP on its incorporation document, making almost immediate connections to Donald Trump, Prince Andrew, Jimmy Savile, the main Freemason lodge, quickly discern the evidence regarding Prince Harry and the evidence regarding Madeleine McCann's possible fate, and the Italian earthquake company linked to the research of Albert Pike letter to Mazzini to bring about the light of Lucifer. So let's just sink in. I'm going to show it to you on the Company's House records. So it's Jerome Dennis within that company. So we're within the company here. Jerome Dennis. Remember, the acronym for it was DOM. So they've created another company. Look, they've just removed the hyphen. I think it's called a hyphen, isn't it? Between the letters there. That's the one we were looking at that came up. But here's one without. Dom UK. If we click on it, look at the date, everybody. 6 days after the Christchurch earthquake, this dissolved. It was the 22nd of February 2011. Its original name was Interseed, changed. If we go to, what else was I going to say on that? Oh yeah, McCann, CMS McCann. Remember what I told you about CMS? Go and type it in. It's part of CERN. It has the ability to create magnetic field, according to their own words, 100,000 times the power of the entire Earth's magnetic field. And here we have CMS, Cameron McKenna, LLP. That links to Donald Trump, Prince Andrew, Princess Anne, okay, and all of everything I'm telling you about here. This is so critical now that you show them that humanity and creation is worth saving. You need to get out there, put all your fears aside, and you need to start making arrests, citizens' arrests of the solicitors first of all. If you don't do this, I don't think I'm going to be able to stop this. I don't think I can stop this alone. CMS Cameron, if we go to the next bit, CMS possibly refers to CERN, as I've said. Leslie H. Island connects this company to 10 companies, several of which are Black & Decker companies, including Black & Decker that was incorporated as George Tucker Eyelet Company Limited in 1934 before its name was changed. The only time in 1991, the important year when David Icke said the world would be devastated by earthquakes and tsunamis. It has Twigg and Beesons on its incorporation. A search for the name of the device IceCube neutrino detector through Google reveals Neutrino Limited, that had been incorporated in 1994, the year before the Hackler International Advisory Board company was started. The incorporation document cannot be viewed. The filing history shows its registered address was changed in January and August 1997, leading up to the apparent death of Princess Diana. There are 2 people in the people record, with William Edward Boone connecting to Little Windmill Hill Residents Association Limited, that was incorporated in 1986 and is a criminal company linking directly to Exbourne Manor Freehold Limited with Jordans and Sons Limited on its incorporation document that appears to be forged. Perry William Holt connects Little Windmill, this company, to 7 companies, including Perry Holt & Co. Limited, that had been incorporated in 2005 and has a registered address of Mercy Hole, Trinity Court, Mercy Hole, in Rickmansworth. It has Vantis companies on its incorporation document that I'd not seen before, and a variation of St John Street address used throughout the fraud and connects to the research of the paedophile information exchange and the World Trade Center disaster. The filing history shows that Mercer and Hull was given as the registered address on the 31st of May 2022, as I was making inquiries at Exbourne Manor. Rick Wandsworth Masonic Hall had already been made important connections from research of Christian warfare and the concerns of that's an organization called Christian Warfare, and the concerns of their involvement with the missing women by rivers that connects to the goldsmiths, because you've got the Flemings, goldsmiths, Rothschilds, 3 massive families involved in all of this, and of course you've got the black nobility families and the 13 families of the which I think some of those families I mentioned are linked in with the 13 families of the black nobility. You've got the House of Stuart, okay, also linked in with all of this, who believe they are linked into the bloodline of Jesus as well. They're massively part of the international government fraud, so we know they're corrupted by Satanism in all of this, because what they're doing is going against the Creator as part of the inversion of Christianity and the inversion of Christ. Connects to goldsmiths and major areas of fraud as shown elsewhere in the document. Vantis Secretaries Limited is shown in the people record of Perry Holt & Co Limited, and connects to 692 companies, including Opera UK Limited. Opera is the name of the experiment that took place with CERN, the Large Hadron Collider, and another facility in Italy, which links to the Vatican at the exact same time as the earthquake happened as well in Christchurch in New Zealand, and it was incorporated in 2008, the same year that the Large Hadron Collider was activated for the first time, and when a fault occurred. It has St John Street on its address and its corporation document. Opera companies, as I've said, are very, very important. Mercer and Hull is shown in the registered address of Perry and Holt Co Limited. Was founded in 1905 and celebrated 120 years at Wembley Stadium in 2025. With Wembley Stadium featured in the research of my former colleague and friend Guy Briscoe, who had, I believe, been positioned alongside me deliberately as I moved from Kent to Dorset. And he's already been connected to Ricky Dearman of the Hampstead Child Abuse Inquiry, linking with the blood of the tortured children, to the Las Vegas shooting of 2017, the biggest mass shooting in the history of America, and serial killer Harold Smith. It had also been connected to the research of my wife's friend, Emily Day, who Guy had been in a brief relationship with. And importantly, it connects to Keller Group, who created the control panel for CERN, and the research of Harvey Goldsmith also connects to it, of the Goldsmith family, linking with Prince Mohammed bin Fahd, as shown elsewhere in the research, all coming in from that little bit of research. The whole parts of Mercer and Hull intrigued me due to the previous research in relation to the black holes, stating that the collider technology is being used to try and create a black hole on Earth. On researching the origin of the Hull part of the name, it states that Harold Hull joined the company in 1933, giving it its second part of its name. A search for Harold Hull immediately reveals Harold Edward Holt, which is one letter different. I believe they probably changed the letter. Holt was an Australian politician who served as the 17th Prime Minister of Australia from 1966, which is the year of the foundation of the Church of Satan. It's also the year that the World Trade Center building started to be built, and it was completed in 1973, the same year that the SWIFT international transaction system, linking now back in with the Church of Satan and into Exborn Manor, started to be used in the international government fraud. It's also the year that Soylent Green, the movie, was related, that appears to be relating to me, which is when about a lone innocent police officer in 1973 who uncovers a dystopian future involving large corporations. Well, that's the year that I was uncovering the international government fraud, but I hadn't even been born yet, or I'm led to believe I hadn't been born yet at that point. So Holt was an Australian politician from Australia from 1966 until 1967, which when he disappeared and was presumed to have died. I suspect he didn't want to be part of what he was implicated in, and they got rid of him. We have to consider that. He held office as leader of the Liberal Party of Australia and held various ministerial positions from 1949 to 1966 in the governments of Robert Mackenzie and Arthur Fadden. The research shows that in December 1967, Holt had disappeared while swimming in rough conditions at Cheviot Beach, supposedly Victoria. He was presumed dead, although his body was never recovered, and his disappearance spawned a number of conspiracy theories. I bet they did. Didn't know about this back then, did they? There was a huge connection to Julian Assange and an Australian doomsday cult linked to Kent, where I was brought up, with Julian Assange linked to all three of my families, as shown elsewhere. A search for a connection to Julian Assange and Holt reveals that a Thomas Holt, Thomas Holt, born 1811, died in 1888, was an English-born Australian pastoralist. So it's possible they're using names, symbolically using alias or handed down names or descendants from people with the same name, following this all through. He was a company director and politician, and he was a member of the New South Wales Legislative Council between 1868 and 1883. He was also a member of New South Wales Legislative Assembly for two periods from 1856 and again between 1861 and 1864. Holt was the first colonial treasurer in New South Wales, but born in Horbury, Yorkshire, England in 1811. This becomes critical because Yorkshire is massively important in all of this. It was, along with Scotland, the first place that Freemasons began in the, I think it goes back further, but certainly in the 1700s time. You had massive Freemason significance tying in with the currency production, as I've said to you earlier, with the 1700s and the colonization of Northern America and the 13 states, which links into the 13 bloodlines, which links into the bloodline of Christ, which links into the deception of Christianity, tying in with vampirism, linking in with the collider technology and everything else I've been telling you. He initially worked in his father's firm in Leeds, but after 3 years became a wall buyer in London. Leeds was where Jimmy Savile was born, as well as being Yorkshire being important in the research and how it relates to the Romans, as I've said, the Freemasons, and also fox hunting, possibly being used to hide the hunting of children on estates, tying back into the bloodline, the blood of the children. Subsequently, Holt emigrated to Sydney in 1842, 2 years before Companies House Register began, and the Young Men's Christian Association, which also connects into this massively in relation to the Christian deception, was formed, and it made a fortune as a wool merchant. In later life, he was the founder of the Royal Prince Albert Hospital, a member of the Royal Society of New South Wales, and patron of the Royal Agricultural Society of New South Wales, making an important connection to the Royals. In 1881, Holt went back to England, where he devoted himself to the poor of London, supposedly, working with the Salvation Army, massively implicated in the criminal network. Okay, all charities are tying in with the evidence of the Freemason creation of the criminal system to launder money through those charities, and actually be an inversion where that money is being used to cause the problems that those charities are supposedly there to help, as part of the satanic infiltration, everybody. All right, Andrew Mearns and Dr. Bernardo with the Salvation Army, and Bernardo's being part of the fraud. In fact, they're all part of the fraud. Okay, all of those organizations, Bernardo's, Salvation Army, are all confirmed as being part of this. Holt died at his home in Halcott in Bexley in Kent on the 5th of September after completing his book Christianity, the Poor Man's Friend, and was buried at Abney Park Cemetery. Here's just the Wikipedia, just so you can see I'm not making it up. There he is. So this looks like it was part of the control of the world system to lead into what I'm telling you about, linking in with Satanism. Bexley, Kent, where he died, is connected to my family via T.G. Baines Solicitors, that connects through Companies House Records to Collider Limited, with an apparent reference to Jeffrey Epstein and a company called We Are Q. Interesting. Another QAnon company also appears to make reference to me, linking, and that also links into P. Diddy and other key areas of the research elsewhere. The same solicitor is also associated with my childhood friend's wife, Emma Ailing, former name Lee, which is the same as the mother's name of the Crays, who my family associated with. And remember, the Crays are tied in with the Profumo affair of the Osmsley, linking into Osmsley House or Manor in Hampshire in the New Forest, which links directly to Exmoor Manor Freehold Limited and connects to Aleister Crowley, and therefore the dark arts, and involving sex magic and black magic. But I suspect the technology and the pharmaceuticals that they use, and it's massively linked to international drug trafficking. Okay, so just go and look at Aleister Crowley. He was a heroin addict. Okay, and he's a massive influence on this criminal system that our international governments are involved in, tying in with black magic. The same solicitor also associated with them, as I've said, Emma Ailing, same surname as the Crays, original name, and who links directly to Ingenious Film Partners 2 LLP, and directly to a ministerial company in Wimborne, Dorset, where the Flemings that initiated my removal and the founder of CERN had lived, with a ministerial company there also linked almost directly to a record of Julian Assange's father, all shown elsewhere in the document. Research shows Julian Assange was born in Queensland area of Australia, where Holt had previously been prominent, and critically that Assange had lived in Kent from 2010 until 2011. This is critical. So Assange lived in Kent from 2010 to 2011 as part of bail conditions regarding the case against him. This was when the Christchurch earthquake occurred. An article from 16th of December 2010, less than a month after CERN Limited was incorporated on Companies House, states a businesswoman has given £20,000 surety towards the bail of WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange. And WikiLeaks was founded, everybody, 2006, the same year that I moved from Kent to Dorset, not knowing anyone at all. The same year that the Da Vinci Code movie was released, about a deception within Christianity and the bloodline. Exactly the same year that Devil Wears Prada was released, which links into the Church of Satan in my research, and the same year that the movie Apocalypso was released, linked to Mel Gibson. And Apocalypso was in the Mayan period, and the Mayan period relates to the end of the Mayan calendar, which links back into 2012. And now Mel Gibson is bringing out the second movie of the resurrection of the Christ, not Christ, okay, the Christ, coming out next year in 2 parts, supposedly. Kent Catering Company boss Sarah Saunders describes the 39-year-old Australian as family friend and praised his good character and intelligence. WikiLeaks has published 250,000 sensitive American diplomat cables, details of which appeared in the press. Mr. Assange is fighting extradition to Sweden, where he faces sex allegations. Earlier, Mrs. Saunders of Tunbridge Wells, who owns the catering company Picnic Anyway, has pledged up to £150,000 towards his bail. So Julian Assange was very much likely compromised by the satanic cult via his investigation, the investigation into him in relation to these sexual offences, to coercively control and manipulate him. And because he was already linked into the Doomsday cult, tying in to Anne Byrne Hamilton, who was leading the cult supposedly in Australia, the family cult. Mr. Assange was granted bail by Mr. Justice Owsley on Thursday during an appeal hearing at the Royal Courts of Justice in London. He was initially granted bail by District Judge Howard Riddle, of City of Westminster Court on Tuesday, pending extradition proceedings due to start on the 11th of January. But he remained in Wandsworth Prison after prosecutors appealed against giving him bail. Let me just show you the article, because this becomes critical. They've got rid of that article. Okay, interesting. Okay, so they've now removed this article, because obviously they'll be watching what I'm doing and they're seeing as I'm releasing the evidence. But that is what the article said, and I've got it, I believe, screenshot somewhere. So that tells us they're worried. They're getting rid of some of the articles now. A Companies House search for Sarah Saunders reveals a Sarah Elizabeth Saunders. This is the lady linking in with Bexley, linking in with Julian Assange, where he was at the time of the Christchurch earthquake, which links to the Collider Limited company, which links to my family, okay? Companies House search shows that Sarah Elizabeth Saunders, having been born in 1961, connected to 2 companies in Tunbridge Wells, Kent, including Gourmet Anywhere Limited. Remember, we've already confirmed she's linked to a food company that was incorporated on the 7th of September 2010, just over 3 months before the article. It dissolved in 2013 after CERN had claimed to discover the God particle. The second company is Transition Kitchen Limited, that was incorporated as Gourmet Anywhere Sussex Limited on the 11th of November 2011, 9 months after the earthquake, Christchurch earthquake, and within 2 weeks of the death of Jimmy Savile. Its name was changed on the 19th of April 2012, the exact same day that a meeting appeared to take place with Jeffrey Epstein, Stephen Hawking and CERN scientists, and an article later claiming Hawking was trying to get CERN to create an a black hole on Earth. This company dissolved in 2013. I'm just going to show you that quickly. Luckily it's still there. Name, Saunders, Transition Kitchen, Gourmet Anywhere. Transition Kitchen, I think it was this one we were talking about. Dissolved incorporated 11th November 2011, within 2 weeks of Jimmy Savile's death. changed its name. There you go, Gourmet Anywhere Sussex, 19th of April. That's the exact same day that Jeffrey Epstein held a meeting with CERN scientists. A separate search for Sarah Elizabeth Saunders shows a person of the same name with a date of birth 4 years older and connected 6 companies with an address of St Stephen's Court, St Stephen's Road, Bournemouth. The exact same address connected quickly to Tommy Robinson and key areas of the fraud, and being very close to Exbourne Manor Freehold Limited. This is huge. And it is. So here's that record, 7 companies. Here it is, St Christopher's, Bournemouth. You can see the address. St Stephen's Court, that's just behind the council buildings of Bournemouth. You can see it was incorporated in May 2012, which is after the meeting took place. One of the companies is Seawood. A separate search for 6 companies with the same. Okay. One of the companies, Seawood Holdings. Let's go into. Is it one of these? Seawood Holdings Limited. Here we go. Is another one, another company that she's connected to in Christchurch. Christ is representative of X, okay, which is representative of the bloodline of Christ. Seawood Holdings, incorporated January 2010, and we can see the exact same address. Look, exact same address we mentioned earlier that we were talking about. Okay, so this then ties in with the corpus clock, okay, and with the technical problem of CERN tying in with Stephen Hawking. If we just go into it a bit more. It was incorporated 2010. It has a registered address of Ocean Village, Southampton, used throughout the fraud and now connected to Still Raymond Solicitors, featuring the research of Sasha Stone, which links to the Vatican. It connects immediately to the fraud by SDG relating to Stanley Davis Group on its registration document. Andrew Simon Davis is in the People record, having been appointed for 1 day, and connects to over 5,006 companies. This is the exact same record, connected almost immediately to the research of the 3I Atlas comet that was discovered in July 2025 and the prophecy of the popes, as shown elsewhere. And I believe they were using the claimed discovery, or they were planning on using the claim of the discovery of the 3I Atlas comet as a deception in relation to an alien invasion, or alien deception, shall we say, to try and explain away all of this. This record for Saunders also connects to Seawood Bournemouth Limited. It was incorporated as Doorgrove Limited in 1989, the year that the World Wide Web was created for CERN, before its name was changed to Seawood Highcliffe Limited under 4 months later, and then again in 1998. It has Keith Stephen Dungate and Law Accountancy Companies on its incorporation document. This same Dungate name is shown in the incorporation document, linking almost immediately to the research of the Chinese Prime Minister, with an address in Bexley Heath, and to the research of the Southport stabbings in 2024. Charter Court Secretaries Limited are shown in the People record for Seawood Bournemouth Limited and connect to 39 companies, including HJ Holt Limited. All right, now remember, we had the Holt connection that we were just talking about. This becomes very, very important. So let me Charter Secretaries, 39 companies, including HJ Holt Limited, that they resigned from on the 28th of August 2007, 5 days after Exbourne Manor Freehold Limited, where my investigation began, was incorporated. This creates a possibly significant, and it now is very significant, connection to another Holt name, supporting the evidence that Prince Harry may have been wearing the skin of Madeleine McCann in his shoes at the time of Jeffrey Epstein's arrest, and everything else that I'm talking about. HJ Holt Limited was incorporated in 1920, has a registered address of 13 Hursley Road, Chandler's Ford, Eastleigh in Hampshire, used throughout the fraud, and where Deborah Fleming had resigned as the NHS CEO to become involved at Exbourne Manor. It has Jordan's and Sons Limited on its incorporation document, appearing to be handwritten on its incorporation document, which I don't think I have ever seen on any of my research, and probably over 500,000 companies now I've looked at. There's over 5 million on the registered company, on the Companies House register, but this is the first time I've seen it written in hand. This makes an immediate connection to Exbourne Manor, where my investigation began. The filing history shows that on the 30th of April 2014, its address was changed from Templars House, Lulworth Close, making a possible reference to the Knights Templar, already linked to a former school and my family name. This is the exact same address, shown quickly from the research of the fault with the Large Hadron Collider and the Corpus clock opened by Stephen Hawkins, as shown elsewhere. So I'm just going to show you that quickly. So we want to go into Seaward Bournemouth. So here's the name, okay, of the person linking into Julian Assange in Kent during the time of the Christchurch earthquake. And here you can see, started the same year as the World Wide Web was created for CERN by Tim Berners-Lee, dissolved after CERN created the claimed that it created the what am I saying? Discovered the Higgs boson of God particle. Sorry, my brain went off trying to think where I'm going here. So here you can see they changed the name. Ocean Village was also connected as we've into this one as well, and they changed it a few days before the claim of CERN. Okay, before the claim, which was the 4th of July. And then if we go into its people record, I believe we have Charter Court Secretaries. When did that resign, actually? Oh, look, yeah, resigned in 2008. So the same year that the Large Hadron was created. Sorry, the Large Hadron first carried out its test, January 2008. That's the same year. And the same year that the Ninth Circle movie was released. 39 companies. Nursery Company, Clark Cars, Sweet People, Seaward Haven, New England Woodcraft, Seaward Dorset. Now, if I was to go into all of these, I'd find even more evidence, but you can imagine how. Now, here's the company. Now, they were appointed to the company in May 2003. That's the same year as the earthquake in Iran, but later, too far away for it to be really connected, but it's probably going to be linked. They resigned on the 28th of August 2007. That is literally 7 days after Exbourne Manor Freehold Limited was incorporated, where my investigation began. And it was incorporated, the company, in 1920. And if we go into the filing history, you'll be able to see the exact same address, hopefully, that we mentioned earlier. I think it's in here. What date did we say it was? Yeah, all of these other addresses become relevant as well. But I'll just show you the one that we know is, because I've shown it on the video, connects in with here it is, Templars House. Okay, 2016. After the ritual at CERN took place in August 2016, and this is the same month, okay, the articles emerged of CERN causing earthquakes. The exact same month. It may even be the same day, I don't know, I need to check that. And here you can see the same address, Templars House, which connects going back to the fault at CERN on September the 19th, 2008, 9 days after its first activation. Now, if we go into these companies, look at the connections, very important. Oh, it's got I'll show you this, Jordan & Son Limited on its incorporation document. Let me just show you that first. That's going to be in a selection of, presume. Just check it's not see if it's this one. It's not that one. Oh yes, Jordan & Sons, there you go. There you go, Jordan & Sons, written, I don't think I've seen that written anywhere in any of my research. H.J. Holt Limited. You need to be recording this, everybody, if you want to stop this happening. Filing history shows change from this address. On the 28th of June 2019, between the arrests of Julian Assange and Jeffrey Epstein, its registered address was changed from Buckley's Chartered Accountants in Romsey that we saw a moment ago. On the 28th of March, 3 days before Deborah Fleming was retired from the NHS to become involved in my investigation, its address was changed from 3 Shelley Farm, Shelley Lane, which we also saw there, Romsey. This is not far away from my former friend Guy Briscoe and his wife Amy Briscoe. Had lived, and Google Maps shows that around this address there is a Masonic centre right by it and multiple other companies around there. Briscoe is connected, as I've said, to key areas of the research, including the blood of tortured children, the Las Vegas shooting, and serial killer Harold Shipman. A separate search reveals that Wilkins Kennedy Limited LLP was incorporated on the 28th of November 2011. Less than a month after Jimmy Savile's death, it is shown as being in the process of liquidation. I suspect this will relate to John F. Kennedy's family. Secretarial Law Limited is shown in the people record for H.J. Holt Limited and connects to Textron Systems Limited UK Limited, Textron Systems Electronic Systems UK Limited, that was incorporated to Blake DEW 331 Limited. DEW possibly referring to directed energy weapon. On the 28th of September 2001, just over 2 weeks after the World Trade Center disaster, before its name was changed to ESL Defence Holdings Limited. It has Blake Lapthorne in Hampshire on its incorporation document, making immediate connection to Gerald McCann and a Catholic company from the research of American judge Robin Rosenberg in relation to the Epstein files. Clive Ian Dolan connects Textron, this company, to BAE Systems and Thales again, and to the British Society of British Aerospace Companies, that makes connections to international weapons companies, and almost immediately to my brother-in-law's family, to Stephen Owens of Exbourne Manor, the main Freemason Lodge, Elon Musk, Ghislaine Maxwell, Donald Trump, and much more. Secretarial Law Limited also connects to Westbourne Road Management Company Limited, that was incorporated in 1986 and has Howard Thomas on its incorporation document, making major connections throughout the fraud to my wife's family. More Stevens South LLP is in the record, people record, and More Stevens Company makes important connections to my dream regarding McDonald's and making links to my family in Kent and to the Collider technology through the control panel. Referring back to H.J. Holt, Ida Pamela Trump, born 1926, is in the people record and connects to Archway Freehold Limited. Let's have a look at this. So in H.J. Holt, I suspect this is an alias or some sort of relative name in relation to Donald Trump because of where it leads. Pamela Ida Trump also connects to Archway 2005 Incorporated, and then within here to Egypt Exploration, Jordan David Ray. John David, I've got the name wrong. Oh, sorry, I'll put Jordan. I think I'm going to put. There we go. So, John David Ray, Egypt Exploration Society. This creates critical connections throughout the research. And you can see it was incorporated in 1888. And this makes very important links back into Egyptology. This links into the Balfour Declaration via Balfour Beatty PLC immediately, which links into the Rothschilds, which links into the Albert Pike letter of the written to Mazzini, setting out the plan through the 3 world wars to bring about the light of Lucifer, and it looks like the end of all of creation on Earth. Now, I'm still here, I'm still alive. I can hear some voices, I believe. Right, I'm going to go back and just show you the dates around the fault of the collider. There's loads, so much evidence, it's pretty overwhelming. This is just a small snippet of the evidence proving what I'm telling you. So if we look up Corpus clock, where are we going to go with that? Oh yeah. So remember we looked at this evidence earlier, which shows they're trying to remove evidence, which is probably the most critical evidence in the document now, because I have to say I'm certain that this was their plan, or they know who I am and they've set this up for me to identify it. But I think they know something about me, that's for sure. Maybe they didn't know that I was being protected from what they were part of by good people within this, and that they thought I was going to somehow support, a doomsday cult scenario. Of course I won't support a doomsday cult scenario, at all. But we do need to see that humanity is willing to do the right thing to protect the children and the innocents in all of this. But if we type in, so if we go to Ra, let's type in September 2008, and then I won't miss any of it. I can go, how do I go back there? 28th. I was looking through my document and thinking, oh my goodness, all the spelling mistakes at the beginning of it. It's all on my phone, you see, and I'm getting older now. They've removed the spell check, so I'm not the best at spelling anyway, but to try and do it on the phone as well. And okay, so September 2008, through the document, we're going to go through all of what happens. Okay, so we've got this, 2008, not the 28th of September. September 2008. Okay, so we've got that one. Did I mention that? Yeah, this is relevant. Okay, so research surrounding Chatham House. I'm not going to read through all of this, but Chatham House links to the Royal Institute of Foreign Affairs. Chatham is where I was born. Coming in from this research, you can pause this, or I'll just go through it slowly. I'm not going to read it. You can just go back over the video and you can read it, need be. It links to William Pitt, who was the Earl of Chatham in the 1700s, which again ties in with the year of the colonization, or the time of the colonization of the Northern America. And actually now I'm thinking about this, is even more relevant, because the vampirism connection ties in with Kent. So this creates that connection at that time with the vampirism, with the Earl of Kent, tying into all of this via William Pitt, who was the Prime Minister at the time. That now makes a lot of sense linking in with the bloodline of the Illuminati and the deception within Christianity now. Yeah, absolutely. Because Sittingbourne in Kent is where they were printing the penny dreadfuls in relation to Sweeney Todd and also Varney the vampire. Okay, so this is within the 1800s. And it was the world's largest printing factory. That is how important Sittingbourne was in the world. And this was the same time that the currency production is going on and the colonization of the Northern America, tying in with the 13 bloodlines of the Illuminati, tying in with the blood of the children in all of this, and the deception of Christianity, as I've said, linking in with Satanism and in with Egyptology potentially. Well, there's definitely a connection into Egyptology. But if we come through here, where was I going to get to? We have a search for portrait solicitors, which connects to that immediately. I think it's on the incorporation document. It's almost immediately connected into Chatham House. We have, including Institute of Government, where someone was appointed from January until September 2008 to that. This is Judith Susan Portrait. Yes, that's right. So on the incorporation document for that institute company, linking in with the Chatham House, it has portrait solicitors. When you type that in, it comes up with this name, not an actual company, of Portrait Solicitors. And that ties in with the month of the collider fault as well, activation and fault. So that is now very relevant. Also, we have coming in from, where's this start cutting in from? Let me just go back to what it was linking in with. Oh yeah, okay, this is stemming from the research of the Cray twins' association to the Thompsons. It led to Fatboy Slim and Zoe Ball. You know, Fatboy Slim, the DJ, who's linked into the international drug trafficking trade. He had a huge drug problem where his companies are actually linked into the drug trafficking network, and he ties into the research surrounding the Thompsons and Fatboy. Anyway, coming in from that, we have a connection to Brighton and Albion Football Club Limited, and then that leads into the Antarctic Treaty. Literally, it just led into it. So let's go into that a little bit. Oh no, hold on. So it was prior to that. So referring back to the research of the Antarctic Treaty. So this was in, oh yeah, it's from the Antarctic Treaty. So this is good actually. So referring back into the relation to the Antarctic Treaty and related agreements, collectively known as the Antarctic Treaty System, or ATS, regulate international relations with respect to Antarctica, Earth's only continent without a native human population. It was the first arms control agreement established during the Cold War, which is fake, which is a deception, designing the continent, designating the continent as a scientific preserve, establishing freedom of scientific investigation and banning military activity. For the purposes of the treaty system, Antarctica is defined as all the land and ice shelves around the 60-degree latitude. Since September 2004, that's interesting. That's the same year as, in fact, that's 2 months, September, October, November, 3 months before the big earthquake that caused the tsunami in Indonesia. So that is very, very relative, very, very relative indeed. The Antarctic Treaty Secretary which implements the treaty system, is headquartered in Buenos Aires, Argentina. The main treaty was opened for signature on the 1st of December 1959, the year after Charles was initiated to become the Prince of Wales, and officially entered into the force on the 23rd of June 1961. This is also the year 1958, the year prior to this, is when NASA was also founded. This 1961 is the year that the main currency producer acquired Waterlow and Sons, and John F. Kennedy was positioned as the US president. The original signatories of the 12 were the 12 countries active in Antarctic during the International Geographical Year of 1957 to 1958. They were Argentina, Australia, Belgium, Chile, France, Japan, New Zealand, Norway, South Africa, and Soviet Union. The United Kingdom and the United States. These countries have established over 55 Antarctic research stations for the IGY, and the subsequent promulgation of the treaty was seen as a diplomatic expression of the operational and scientific cooperation that had been achieved. As of 2024, the treaty had 58 parties. A search for Antarctic Treaty System Company's House through Google reveals the first result as Malaria Mining Industries. With this, it was incorporated, Industries Limited, with Confederatio Antarctica had become a significant company of control in March 2022, as I made inquiries at Export Manor, and the same month that Deborah Fleming resigned as the NHS Chief Executive to become involved. It has a registered address of HM Revenue and Customs, because what they're doing is they're funneling all your tax into this collider technology. Well, not all of it, but a lot of the main agenda will be being funneled into the collider technology and the agenda to end all of creation, according to all of the research. Here is that company, just so you can have a little look at it. Malaria Mining Industries and you can see it has Antarctica that came up, and you have HM Revenue and Customs on there of an address in Aberdeen, Scotland, and they were notified to become a company of significant control in March, the same month that Deborah Fleming retired as the NHS Chief Executive. And you can see it dissolved in August 2025 as I continued the exposure and leading up to my arrest, fake arrest, well, real arrest, but criminal arrest. Maria Emilia is the people record of this company and connects to EU Public Prosecutor's Office Limited. It was incorporated on the 8th of August 2022, a month to the day after I had approached Anthony Roberts of Exmoor Manor Freehold Limited in relation to this, and they dissolved, which triggered my investigation, and they dissolved on the 7th of May 2024 as the exposure continued. And page 9 of the incorporation document shows EU PPO of an address of Aberdeen and Cities Governing Law EU Council Regulation of the 17th of October 2017 on it. Establishment of the EU PPO. Interesting. I'm not going to go into too much of this. Search for that suggests that there's links to a European crime reporting website which now appears to be closed. Anyway, a search for the Atlantic Treaty, this is now important bit. A search for the Atlantic Treaty System acronym ATS reveals that ATS Corporation Limited was incorporated in July 2009, the same year that I became a director at Exmoor Manor and Royal Foundation of the Prince and Princess of Wales was incorporated. It dissolved on the 18th of January 2011, almost a month to the day before the Christchurch earthquake. It has a French address and David Bruno Cartel and Agent Griffiths of Griffiths Court, London, Newbury, on its incorporation document and its registered address. A. Griffiths also makes important connections to CAPB Limited, linked to the Flemings, and important evidence in relation to the World Trade Center disaster. So remember, the acronym for the Atlantic Treaty was ATS. Here we have ATS Corporation Limited. You can see it dissolved, as I've said, just over a month before the Christchurch earthquake, and it was incorporated in July 2009, as I said, the same month that I became a director as Exmoor Manor Freehold Limited. Griffins connects into the Flemings. Let's just go into this. A. Griffins Company. A search for Griffins London Road, Newbury, which is on that address. Look, you can see Griffins London Road, Newbury. Reveals the directors of Griffins Properties Limited, with them having the exact same address. Griffins Properties Limited was incorporated in 2013 and dissolved on the 15th of July 2022, 2 days after Anthony Roberts of Exmoor Manor resigned, triggering my investigation. You can see the people record, the exact same address, unless they've changed it. I think that's the same address. Neil Richard Buckingham connects this company to Business Consultants Limited that was incorporated in 2014 and dissolved in 2024 as it continued. It has King William Street on its incorporation document used throughout the fraud. The location mentioned for the neutrino device is the Amundsen Scott South Pole Station, and research shows that it is a United States scientific research station, the South Pole of the Earth. It is the southernmost point under the jurisdiction, not sovereignty, of the United States. The station is located on the high plateau of Antarctica, above sea level. It is administered by the Office of Polar Programs of the National Science Foundation, specifically United States Antarctic Program, and it is named in honor of Norwegian, which now becomes actually very relevant because the Norwegian connection is important in all of this as well, linking in with tying into Khan surnames. And that was established from the research of the Church of Satan as well. Completing first, it's named in honour of Norwegian Ronald Amundsen and Britain Robert F. Scott, leaders of the, as we're aware, Captain Scott, compelling first and second expeditions to reach the pole in September 1911 to 1912. This is 100 years before the relative Christchurch earthquake and the Titanic disaster. which becomes relevant at 100 years increments. Okay, because you had our Titanic disaster was in 1912, and then the Christchurch earthquake was in 2011 in February. According to the information, the following experiments took place at this location. I'm not going to read all of them to you. On the January the 10th, 1995, NASA, PBS and NSF collaborated for the first live television. NASA is linked into Satanic, the Church of Satan. Television podcast from the South Pole, titled Spaceship South Pole. This is the year that the intelligence agency, Russian government and royal family-linked Hackler International Advisory Board was incorporated and dissolved after being exposed. If you're just joining me, we're talking about international criminal network of fraud, crime and deception, where it appears the ultimate plan is to end all of creation. And, you know, it's a shocking thing to say, but unfortunately I've got the evidence supporting overwhelmingly that this was their plan and still seems to be their plan. The 2011 BBC television programme Frozen Planet discusses the base there in the Antarctic and shows footage of the inside and outside of the elevated station in the Last Frontier episode. Interesting name, Last Frontier. 2011 is the year of the Christchurch earthquake and Jimmy Savile's death. A Companies House search for this ombudsman reveals of Amundsen to Scott reveals the Scots Amundsen Race Limited that was incorporated on the 25th of January 2011, less than a month before the Christchurch earthquake, and it dissolved on the 2nd of October 2012 after CERN had claimed to discover the Higgs boson or God particle. Here it is, the Scott Amundsen Race, 25th of January 2011. The earthquake in Christchurch was the 22nd of October. Remember, we have the information that a facility at this location had created the Christchurch earthquake. It then dissolved on the 2nd of October 2012, which is after CERN's claim to have discovered the Higgs boson or God particle. And this was the same year as the end of the Mayan calendar. Alistair Edward Henry Wolseley is the only director and connects the Scott Amundsen Race Limited to the Shackleton Foundation. It was incorporated in February 2007. Under 3 months before Madeleine McCann went missing, it has Clyde & Co. on its incorporation document. This connects to the criminal legal system, to the BBC, to the Royals, to the De Reyes, to the Vatican, to the Sweeney Todd Group, and to vampirism via Field Fisher, as shown elsewhere in the document. Investment banker David Cornell, of an address of Hampshire, the county where Flemings were prominent, is also shown. Wilson's Company Secretaries Limited is shown in the People Record and was appointed to the Shackleton Foundation on the 8th of September 2008, 2 days before the Large Hadron Collider in Switzerland was activated and a fault occurred 8 days later. It connects to 301 companies that will come to, do we need to come in? Yeah, we'll come into that in a minute. Now, Wilson's becomes relevant because Wilson's company connects into the research of David Icke, who came out and said the world would be devastated by earthquakes and tsunamis, and links to the intelligence agencies. And he said that 13 years before the 2004 earthquake, which was on the anniversary, the 50th anniversary that CERN was founded, okay, and links to Satan, all right, or links to a satanic cult which is potentially infiltrated via an Egyptian bloodline in all of this, potentially. But there's an overwhelming evidence of the Church of Satan in all of this. But it seems that what they're doing is trying to make it seem like it's Satan rather than the bloodline of pharaohs. Now, the Egyptian pharaohs, according to history, if it's true, they have a motive to bring about the light of Lucifer and destroy Christianity, because Christianity was what caused Pharaonism to phase out, and they tried to be a resurgence of Pharaonism in the 1920s and 1930s, which is when a Lloyd married a Fleming, which links to the vampirism side of this again, all right, and Varney the Vampire, and into the currency production again. So, where are we? So, this company, Wilson's, links to the research of David Icke And Wilson's, there's an article elsewhere in the document where Jordan's was supporting Wilson's after it was closing down. So they started to close down as I was exposing the connections. This Wilson's companies and Jordan's, the main company in the fraud linking with the Church of Satan, actually came in and was supporting this organization. Information shows that the Shackleton Foundation was established in 2007, the same year that Madeleine McCann went missing, by the direct descendants of Sir Ernest Shackleton of 1907 and 1908 Nimrod expedition, to celebrate the legacy of the legendary pole explorer and great man. 2007 is the year Madeleine McCann went missing, and when I was introduced to Exmoor Manor and my wife, and Exmoor Manor Freehold Limited was incorporated that year. Here's some information on the Shackleton Foundation, just so you can see it. Since our inception in 2007, leadership history. There you go. They're talking about the Antarctic expedition. Interesting new leader. Haven't researched him. Where are we? So remember, it was information shows that this organization was established in 2007 to celebrate the Nimrod expedition. Well, Nimrod is also a biblical figure mentioned in the book of Genesis. And this is really important, actually. And you really need to understand why this is so important as we go through this. Nimrod is also a biblical figure mentioned in the book of Genesis and the books of Chronicles. The son of Cush, and thus the great-grandson of Noah, Nimrod was described as a king in the land of Shinar, lower Mesopotamia. The Bible states that he was a mighty hunter before the Lord and began to be mighty in the earth. Nimrod became a symbol of defiance against God, or against. Now, if the true creator is the creator linking in with Christianity, and I have to consider that it is, because the love thy neighbor and thou shalt not kill, which to me is the absolute foundation of humanity, to protect all of humanity and protect creation from humanity, then this is very significant, because this shows that this is against that, which supports the evidence that the entire system linking to the collider technology is against the creator and against moral conscience through that inception and infiltration and inversion of Christ, if you like. So it's here, biblical and non-biblical traditions identify Nimrod as the ruler associated with the Tower of Babel. Jewish, Christian, and Islamic accounts variously portray him as a tyrant who led its builders, turned people from God, and opposed Abraham, even attempting unsuccessfully to kill him by fire. Now, what have I been saying for the last few months? They are separating you from the Creator through the system they have created by removing the moral conscience from your mind, okay? Through the use of substances, through the use of harming you psychologically, physically, creating cancer, you know, directing all of this at you, pornography, drugs, alcohol, all of these things, because that separates you from moral conscience and therefore from the Creator, all right? And I think this is absolutely deliberate, and this now supports that that is the case. I previously identified that Oxford's diamond light source is linked to former Nimrod named device. The research shows that diamond light source, or just diamond, is the UK's national synchrotron light source science facility located in the Harwell Science and Innovation Campus in Oxford, again, Oxfordshire. No, it was Cambridge, sorry, we were talking about earlier. Its purpose is to produce intense beams of light whose special characteristics are useful in many areas of scientific research. Now, the Albert Pike letter talks about bringing the light of Lucifer upon earth, and we have the Iona prophecy, which we're going to come to in a minute, tying in with all of this. Talks about the end of the world, linking in with Iona, okay, and that talks about a beam of light shining up from the from Iona or Ireland, which is between Scotland and Ireland. Now, according to the research, there are over 50 diamond light sources around the world. It could be that this person that said there's over 50 hadron colliders is referring to the light sources. As far as I'm aware, there's only 2 active colliders. These light sources appear to be something different. Whether they're hiding that and they're all colliders, I don't know. But it suggests that they are not in the research they're giving us. The diamond light source synchrotron in the largest UK funded scientific facility to be built in the UK since the Nimrod proton synchrotron. So we've got Nimrod. This Nimrod connection is why I'm telling you this, which was sited at the Rutherford Appleton Laboratory in 1964. Nearby facilities include the ISIS neutrinon. Well, ISIS links to Egyptology, and the Morn Source, the Central Laser Facility, and the laboratories at Harwell and Cullum, including the Joint European Taurus Tex Jet project. It replaced the synchrotron radiation source, a second-generation synchrotron, at the Daresbury Laboratory in Cheshire. Now, you had this cult recently being investigated in Cheshire. I think Crewe is in Cheshire. This could have been an opportunity for them to infiltrate and hide the evidence in relation to the diamond light source that I'm talking about here. Diamond produced its first user beam towards the end of January 2007 and was formally opened by Queen Elizabeth II on the 19th of October 2007, with these dates being either side of Madeleine McCann going missing and Exbourne Manor Freehold Limited being incorporated. A design study for the diamond light source took place during the 1990s when other important developments in the fraud and seemingly sinister agenda were taking place, and the study was completed in 2001, the same year as the World Trade Center disaster deception, and when the High Priest of the Church of Satan, Peter Gilmore, was positioned. It was carried out by scientists of Daresbury and Construction. Daresbury and Construction began following the creation of the operating company Diamond Light Source Limited. The construction cost £260 million, covered the synchrotron building, the accelerators inside it, the first 7 experimental stations, and adjacent office block Diamond House. The facility is operated by Diamond Light Source Limited, a joint venture company that was established in March 2002 after the World Trade Center disaster. The company receives 86% of its funding from UK government via the Science and Technology Facilities Council. The Wellcome Trust has significant links to the fraud because also 86% of the funding was from technology and 14% from the Wellcome Trust. The Wellcome Trust has already been connected to the fraud, the Association of Chief Police Officers of the United Kingdom, the Association of Police and Crime Commissioners of the United Kingdom, which links to Jimmy Savile, which links to the blood of the children, and it actually links back into CERN. The beam of light may be related to a deception of the Iona St. Columbus prophecy and talks about the beam of light in Iona, which is what I've said. I'm just going to show you that quickly. Diamond light source, just so you can see, not making it up. Here's diamond light source. 50 light sources across the world. 1964, mentioned there. 2007, that I mentioned, Queen Elizabeth on the left there. And 2001, and Diamond Source Limited. We're going to have a quick look at Diamond Source Limited in a minute. Diamond Light Source Limited was incorporated as Code Note Limited in February 2002, 5 months after the World Trade Center disaster. Its name was changed for the only time in March 2002. Again, not long afterwards at all. It connects immediately to major areas of the criminal network and the centralized criminal network, by Stanley Davis Group on its incorporation document. The person of significant control tab shows notice of no relevant persons given in 2017 after the Pizzagate scandal was exposed and Donald Trump was positioned. I'm sorry I'm talking quickly here, but this is I don't know if they're going to try and track me, so I've got very credible evidence that drones are being now used to locate me on the same day today when there was a civil court case set up, a criminal court case, to try and entice me to go to a location where it would give them the ability to unalive me, which obviously I haven't gone to. So now it seems they're sending drones out to find my location. I can only assume they now have no other option but to get rid of me because of the evidence that I'm exposing is so important in all of this. Comfort Oxford Diamond Light Source to Oxford Instruments with... So John Comfort connects Diamond Light Source Limited to Oxford Instrument Companies, with Oxford Instruments PLC having already been connected directly to major areas of the fraud and the Goldsmith family by the Goldsmiths Company trustee that connects immediately to the leaders of Saudi Arabia, the Association of Police and Crime Commissioners again, and much more. So this is all linking in with Satanism, the satanic cults, the blood of tortured children, all linking in with the police now, a doomsday cult. It's blatantly obvious, everybody. All right, we've got a serious problem, a serious problem. It can't get more serious. It can't get more serious, can it, than this? John Gillespie Stewart connects Diamond Light Source Limited to various Wellcome Trust companies that have major connections throughout the research, including to the vaccine company AstraZeneca, the Royal Foundation of the Prince and Princess of Wales, Lloyds Bank, Keir Starmer, via the Death Penalty Project Limited, the case of Madeleine McCann, and P. Diddy, and much more as shown throughout the document. David James Scott Cooksey connects Diamond Light Source Limited to 34 companies, including Pearl Group Holdings Limited, with Pearl companies making direct connections to the research of Princess Diana and the Pizzagate scandal. Cooksey also connects to various Foresight companies, with Foresight companies featured in the research of the leaders of China and making major connections to the criminal network. Cooksey also connects to Mary Rose companies and the Portsmouth Historic Dockyard, where they were appointed in 1996 and resigned in 2011. I'm just going to have a quick... So we have loads of connections in now to the Archbishop of Canterbury, which links into the Doomsday Cult. We have connections into Portsmouth Naval Base, which links to the Flemings, Ian Fleming, Doomsday Cult, Collider Technology, End of Creation. We have a link to the Warrior ship. The Warrior, HMS Warrior, is where my sister and brother-in-law got married on it. Right, let's go to the next date. That was all just coming in from the September date. Let's go to on the 16th of September. This is really important. So this was established. I'm trying not to go through all of this because I want to head off soon. And this comes in from research of Jim Carrey, Hollywood actor, after he disclosed some information via, it wasn't him, somebody disclosed some information, the Caesar Awards, Caesar linking back with Rome, everybody. And it led from that prompted me to research the evidence that he was providing, and he was somebody that was coming out talking about the Illuminati on live television shows. So it appeared to create a bit of a problem for them because he was actively saying that the Illuminati are linking into all of this, and he also made assumptions of the probably true knowledge that he has of children being taken through the trafficking network in relation to what Hollywood is part of. And obviously he was in the Truman movie, and the Truman movie connects to the Rothschilds directly via the research. I've now put that into the document. You'll see that the Truman movie, which was about somebody in a dome with a flat earth scenario, with everyone staged watching him, like's happening to me, everybody. That's what's happened throughout my life. I actually think the movie was based on me, to be honest with you. Came out in 1998, but the research from it is just obviously part of all of this, especially now the Rothschilds link is made. And everyone was basically watching him. Now, from there, we lead into a relevant connection. I'm just going to get back to it to refresh my memory. A date of the 16th of September 2008. And this is because, let me just get my head around why I put this. Okay, sorry, it's actually going back prior to, this is all stemming in from the research of the Savile Fashion Export Limited Company. Okay, which is, let me see, no, I can't want to search it because so how did I get to that? The Savile Export. Let's put Savile. I'm just going to have a look for this. Savile Export. Okay. Savile, what was it called? Savile Fashion Export. Obviously relating to Jimmy Savile's family. Savile Fashion. And this links into the children's skin being worn in garments. Okay, so coming in from the research from Jim Carrey, it leads to Lawrence Grant Holdings Limited, 8 companies connecting to catering companies, and Savile Fashion Export Limited. It was incorporated as FDK Services Limited in 2013. I suspect this relates to Savile Row, shown in the research of the Wayfair child trafficking scandal network. A separate search for FDK reveals FD Services Limited. It's FD Services Limited, which was incorporated October 2016, which is the month after the ritual took place at CERN. So remember, this is coming in from the evidence of Jim Carrey, which I'm not going to go through at the moment. Let me come back into, hold on, so if we go into, right, let me go into Grant Holdings. So Lawrence Grant Holdings, right, so I need to go into this one first. So here's Lawrence Grant Holdings. Interestingly, look, 2008. So that is after the Ninth Circle movie came out and before September, when so I'm just looking at the dates here. June 2000. Oh, there you go. Yeah. So look. So 2008 June is when the company began, and it was March that year that the Ninth Circle movie was released, and September when the first experiment took place at the Large Hadron Collider, and then 9 days later the fault occurred. And this company changed its name. This is interesting. 22nd of April 2020, because that is April is the same month. The 5th of April is when the founder of the London Law Agency died, and when Keir Starmer resigned from the Death Penalty Project Limited on the exact same day. And the Death Penalty Project Limited links immediately to Madeleine McCann and back into all of this evidence that I'm exposing. So this is interesting, this date change here. But if we go into it anyway, we've got a record that's in here that becomes relevant in one of these names. I'm not too sure which name did I say it was? Was it Corklin? Yeah, Corklin, I think. 8. There we go. Savile Fashion Export Limited. Interesting, Glencoe. Look at the Glencoe Road. Jimmy Savile lived in Glencoe at the end of his life, and the Flemings had a property right near it. So they're picking names that's coming into their head, it looks like, as the addresses. Here's Savile Fashion, and it was incorporated 2013 after CERN claimed to have discovered the Higgs boson or God particle. Originally FDK Services Limited. Okay, so this is how we've got to the FDK connection. FDK Services. And then FDK Services comes up on the next search. Sorry, on a separate search. Here it is as a company in itself. And this is the one we were looking at a moment ago. And then it has, it's incorporated an accounts net is its registered address. Okay, right, yeah, okay. So here you've got accounts net as its registered address. If we go into accounts net, we see that if it's not changed, hold on. No, we've done that bit. So a separate search shows that Accounts Net Limited was incorporated in 1999, the same year as the re-establishment of the Church of Satan. It dissolved in 2023 as I continued the exposure. It has JSA Services Limited of Princes Street, Edinburgh on its registered address, and a company of significant control. It is a criminal company have been connected to major areas of fraud with Jordans and Oswalds of Edinburgh of 24 Great King Street. A separate search shows Workwell Limited. So Accounts Net. Where was I going to go with that? Workwell. A separate search shows Workwell People Solutions. It was incorporated as John Stephen Accountancy. The year the one was created. Oh, here we are. Yeah. So we've got SJA. Okay. Is its registered address? Which one was this one we were looking at? Oh, yes. We've got to go into Accounts Net. Remember, this is following a trail of evidence to show the continuity here. We have JSA, you can see here. JSA Services, Princes Street, dissolved 2023 as I continued the exposure. JSA, remember. A separate search shows Workwell People was incorporated, was changed to JSA, right, yeah, okay. Workwell People Solutions Limited. Established the same year as the World Wide Web was created for CERN, 1989, and its original names you can see JSA. And look when it last changed, 2024. So they realised, oh dear, we need to cover this up. Let's change the company names, try and hide all of this. They didn't change it from 1997 until 2024, which is as I escalated the exposure. It was originally created in 1989, as we said here. Look at the name changes here. One of the name changes in July there in the middle. You can see on the right hand side, July 1997, the month before Princess Diana died. Remember, this is all linking in with the Church of Satan. Dodi Al-Fayed, who she was in a relationship with at the end of her life, links to the Church of Satan via the research. Referring back to Savile Fashion's export, Michael Antonio Rees. That's right. That's where. Okay, so we go back. Why is that not allowing me to? So I'm going to have to go back into it. Why is that not? Ah, there we go. So within the Savile Fashion Export Company, which links to it looks like the skinning, I'm sorry to say, of children, and that being made into clothing and handbags, particularly by the high-end companies such as Prada and Louis Vuitton, which I've linked into the Church of Satan. We have a Michael Antonio Rees here within this company. Notice country of residence, Switzerland. Now, he only links to two companies. ICT Worldwide Commodities is another one. I'm just going to see whether I need to go into that. Appears to be a variation. This appears to be a variation of the details of Michael J. Rees, FRSA, FRSB, born 1960, a British bioethicist, educator, and journalist. He is also an Anglican priest. Rees is a professor of science education at the Institute of Education, University College London, where he is assistant researcher and of research and development. Rees's father was an obstetrician, his mother a midwife. His father was Jewish, his mother an agnostic. Rees had a secular upbringing in North London. He began his career as a school teacher at Hills Road Sixth Form College, Cambridge, in 1983. In 1989, the year of the World Wide Web, he became a lecturer and tutor at the Department of Education at the University of Cambridge, which is where Stephen Hawking was studying. The same year that the relative World Wide Web, as I said, would create for CERN. At the age of 29, Rees began training in the ministry in the Church of England with the East Anglian Ministerial Training Course. He was ordained the Church of England. He was ordained in the Church of England as a deacon in 1990 and a priest in 1991, the same year that the relativistic heavy ion collider was first built in New York, started to be built, and that David Icke came out and said the world would be devastated by earthquakes and tsunamis. Rees works in the fields of science education, bioethics, and sex education. Sex crimes and torture and its relation to the collider and the Vatican are a huge element in the centralized criminal network being exposed. Rees has a special interest in the ethical implications of genetic engineering. He was formerly head of the School of Mathematics, Science, Technology and the Institute of Education, University College London. Institute of Education, University College London. In science education, he currently directs projects funded by the Department of Children, schools for families, including a longitudinal ethnographic study of pupils learning, currently in the 11th year. This gives the ability to manipulate children through education, of course. Rees is a frequent consultant to the Royal Society of the Qualifications of Curriculum Authority, the Training and Development Agency for Schools, formerly known as the Teacher Training Agency, or the TTA, and other organisations. He serves on the editorial board of the International Journal of Science Education. He was a special advisor to the House of Lords of Animals in Scientific Procedures in 2001 to 2002, and is a member of the Farm Animal Welfare Council. The experimentation on animals and humans appears to be part of the sinister agenda. On the 16th of September 2008, which is the reason I'm saying this, he resigned from his position as the Royal Society over the what should be taught in relation to creationism. This was 6 days after the related Large Hadron Collider at Geneva, Switzerland was first activated, and 3 days prior to an alleged fault occurring. Royal Society connections are made throughout the document, including to the research of J.F. Kennedy, to the Flemings and the Doomsday Cult via Julian Assange, to CERN Limited, to Christchurch Earthquake Company and Ghislaine Maxwell, to Darwin and Theory of Evolution companies, to Brexit, to J.P. Morgan and the Flemings via Michael Forsyth, to the Mind Charity and the apparent abuse and torture of children, and that's via the Feversham Child Abuse Inquiry, to Esther Ranson and Criminal Childline charity companies, from the research of Richard Knighton, the head of the military, to Australian Thomas Holt. Remember, we spoke about Holt. This creates that connection back into Holt. We mentioned Holt earlier of Australia and the connections to a Holt tying in with the Doomsday Cult and Julian Assange, to Gerald McCann, and to a possible relative of the High Priest of the Church of Satan and to the worldwide police organization. There are many other important connections from them. I'm getting a bit... How many people we got on here? 89. Hope you're all doing okay. Hope everyone's taking this on board. I can't look at any of the comments. I can't even block people, unfortunately. So let's go to September 2008 again, because it links into Ivan the Terrible and into Russia. In fact, I'm going to leave it there now. I hope people have got the idea. There's so many other bits of evidence. So, for example, the movie, talking about the Christchurch earthquake, okay, which was in the earthquake in Indonesia in 2004. That was exactly a year to the day after the Iranian earthquake of 2003, which was the 26th of December 2003. December 26th of December 2003, earthquake in Iran. In February 2004, okay, is when Charles went and visited that earthquake in Iran. That is the same year as the 50th anniversary of the of the CERN organization being founded in 1954. And it was later that year, to the day, on the 26th of December 2004, that the Indonesian earthquake happened, causing the death of over 300,000 people, which now appears to be deliberate, using the collider technology. The movie that came out in relation to that was called The Impossible, starring Ewan McGregor and others. The exact day that was released was the end of the Mayan calendar in 2012. That's some of the evidence. It's just absolutely mind-blowing. This is all real. You'll need to get this document. You need to email me, GaryTheTruthSetsUsFree@gmail.com. I will try and spend some time sending this document out soon. I need to try and make sure I'm a bit safe, first of all. If they're sending drones up trying to find me, then, I don't know if you're going to see me again after today. I have no idea. And as I've said, they have timed that with the court date that they set up, a criminal court date for today, the 20th of May. And I put them in a bit of a difficult position, because they thought I was probably going to turn up with thinking I'm worrying about them taking all of my property and my money, and that would get me to actually go to that court case. Well, no, I can't. This evidence is far more important. The children, obviously, and this is now just supporting even more the evidence is true, everybody. And those of you that are part of the fraud but don't know about the plan to end all of creation, you seriously need to come forward now. You need to expose yourself. You need to expose the fraud. If you don't do it, all of the evidence is overwhelming, suggests all your lives are going to be ended, and all of creation at the same time. I'm trying to stop it. I'm trying to save you all. I'm trying to save everybody in all of this, including those involved in this. And I still believe that through full disclosure of the truth, full repentance, and assisting me in creating a new system of transparency will lead to their salvation, at least spiritually, in all of this. But it seems they're not going to do it. So it's down to the innocents in this to do the right thing, to compel the truth to come out through this evidence. Thanks very much for watching. Really appreciate it. There's loads more evidence I could go through, but I'm getting a bit cold and I need to think about what I'm going to be doing. So thank you very much, everyone. All the best. Take care. Bye-bye.